made it to Skagway, Alaska. Oh, I can see where the rocks fell. We made it. Look at that town. You're gonna have a great day. Good morning and welcome to Skagway. We are going to take the white rail train. We're going to a little camp town for a salmon bake. We're going to the saloon. I can't wait. It's an 8-hour excursion. So it should be very, very fun. And it's new to me. So let's go see Skagway. Hope you're doing okay. Don't forget to share your smile. The other side of the ship, and there's the train. There's 2 more trains. You know what? There's 2 more trains.
Catches all the little noises, not my voice very well though. Well, you guys aren't too far back, so you can hear me okay, I hope. I'll bump it just a little bit. Chip, 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 chip. Where is it? Aha! A safety speech I have prepared for you. This one just says, have fun. Should be enough. Oh no. Hello, my name is David. I will be your bus driver today and tour guide. Our bus number is 8878 if you forget it's up there, but if everyone could shout that back at me.
8878.
I do expect you might forget, so I hang up this little flamingo shirt up in the window anytime we get off that bus. So everyone take a good look, remember the fun flamingo shirt, and be looking for that as we are going to get off the bus and get back on the bus a handful of times today. And there is another white bus doing the exact same tour directly behind us. So pink flamingo shirt. Got it? Wonderful. Our tour today, some of y'all mentioned as you were coming over to me, is going up to the top of the White Pass, a little ways beyond into Fraser, British Columbia. There we will board the White Pass and Yukon Route rail line. Y'all will ride that train back down. I'll come pick you up and then double check, make sure I have it all in order. Then we'll be going over to the town of Liarsville. In Liarsville, they'll do a show, they'll let us do some gold panning, and there's going to be a delicious salmon bake that I don't get to join you for. I got to do some transfers here and there, so I'll explain more about that on the way up. But y'all will enjoy that. It's fantastic food, and I'm not going to cry while I'm away from it at all. There are a few rules on board this vessel. Please no smoking, no vaping, no chewing tobacco, all that good stuff. Please remain behind the sandy line up here. There's this little white line. That is not just my rule, but a federal law. That is only while the vehicle is in motion. I'll let you pass it when we're getting off the coach. There is a restroom on board this bus, and I do ask if you are heading back there or heading up here to ask me a question. Use 3 points of contact. Please use both these handrails up here as opposed to your fellow passengers' heads. You are more than welcome to use the stowage compartments up above. Just make sure that they latch securely so no items fall onto your fellow passengers and or yourself. Please keep the aisleway clear of all items. arms, elbows, knees, all that stuff, that's fine. Just be mindful of other guests who may be moving through the coach. Like I said, we do have a bathroom in the back. I do ask that everybody remain seated for the entirety of your performance. Everybody, boys, looking at you. Do make sure that when you sit down in there, you look back at the door and you lock that door. That'll let us know that somebody's in there, and that will make sure that the first bear we see today is not your bare bottom, if I have to slam on the brakes. There are a few pieces of safety equipment on board. Underneath the second row up here is our fire extinguisher, so I'd like to charge the both of you with being our honorary fire marshals for the day. Does that work? Yeah? Okay, you're voluntold. A couple others. We have a first aid kit and biohazard cleanup kit up here. I am a wilderness first responder, so I would like to be the first one to the scene. However, if someone has a higher level of medical training, I will call upon you for assistance. In the event of an emergency, should we have to exit this vessel, we do have my first and favorite exit up here, the door. We're going to use that one first. If I become incapacitated and that door is not going to open, there's this little red switch up here. Push that, it releases the air, and then that can just be pushed open. Second favorite, that's going to be our windows. All alongside the bus here is emergency exits. You lift up this little panel, push the window out, and it'll either fall up or fall out. Please don't test and find out. My least favorite, if the bus gets a little sleepy, lays down for a nap at any point, there's also two roof hatches, one in the front, one in the rear. You pull the red handle and push the hatch up and out. Least favorite, we're not doing that today. Safety is my utmost priority. I would love for this to be an amazing tour. We're very lucky with great weather. I want to teach you a lot, share with you a lot of information today, but getting from here to there to back to here is number one. So do hope you know that. I might make some jokes about safety though, but it's all jokes. I really value safety. Anytime we stop the coach, I will be the first. She's always yelling at me. Anytime we're getting off the coach, I would like to be the first one off and the last one back on. So do please allow me time to go outside the coach, prep the landing, and put the chocks under the wheels. Any questions? Wonderful. And without further ado, we'll get rolling up the White Pass here and take a little journey through town. Pay no mind. Alrighty, something I would like to warn you about this bus is it's got a ZF transmission, so for any folks who drive trucks, you might know what that is, but if not, what that means is it's slow and it's kind of a lurcher when it shifts, so you'll feel some of that, but just know that's normal for this coach. Nothing's wrong, it's just, it'll kind of lag as it shifts, but kind of scares some folks sometimes when it first happens, so I do like to preface that. But any hoozle, we are out of the cluster and on our way. Welcome to Skagway, everybody. Has anyone ever been here before? Wonderful. Welcome back then, and welcome to, for anyone who hasn't been here, this is the home of the North Wind, the sunshine capital of the Southeast. You can actually believe me on that today. A lot of folks come out here and it's all clouds down to the lower shelf on the mountains. It's so sunny. We are also the garden capital of the state. Home of 4 ports, or 4 docks I should say. And the home of the White Pass Yukon Route Railway. And the gateway to the Klondike. We have just so many things here. This is the White Pass train here. That is what we're heading up to go ride, but we're going to meet them up top in Fraser, British Columbia. We will be entering Canadian Customs, that's why we needed all of your passports. When you get back down on the train, I expect that they will have U.S. Customs come and board your train, kind of 50-50 on that one. Fun fact here, the White Pass itself, up at the top of the mountain, does receive on average 30 feet of snow per year, so when the White Pass was running in the earlier era of its operation, they were using this large rotary snowplow here. That is the rotary snowplow that they were using, one of them at least. Now you can tell though that's not 30 feet tall. Oh, they're running a steam engine today. Awesome. Very cool. Haven't seen that one in motion yet. And we got out just in time because they're about to go block that road over there. So welcome to the National Historic Park here. You can tell where the park is based on these wooden boardwalks surrounding the sidewalks. If you're exploring Skagway later today, as you will be touring the Red Onion Saloon as part of this tour, feel free to walk around out here and check it out. Just know that everything you'll want to see is on this main Broadway drive. Got the Arctic Brotherhood there, covered in 7,000 pieces of driftwood, or so they say. The Mascot Saloon here is a little free museum to go and check out, filled with artifacts that they found in the building there. There's a lot of little walk-in free museums out here, a lot of cool stuff to see. Some good eats at Bonanza Bar and Grill, some good eats up at Skagway Brew Co. There's all sorts of good stuff. There is not just like tourist stuff here though, there is also the Skagway hardware store. That is like the town hardware store. If they don't have it, you don't need it, is the saying. Ooh, there is also a jewelry shop on our right there, on our left. Another jewelry shop. Just next to that jewelry shop, just behind it, jewelry shop. To the right, jewelry shop. But my favorite of the jewelry shops up here is Carnival Spirit. This is one of the historic buildings up here and one of the historic shops. Carnival Spirit had a really interesting way of advertising if you look back up on that mountain up there. That is their original billboard. There's a lot of graffiti on the rocks out there too, but that was done by the ship captains, and it's a standing tradition still, where when they first come into port, the captain will go and paint their name on the rocks.
Cool.
This bank here is actually the original bank, though it has been pretty extensively renovated. Go back to the early 1900s, very Old West style. A man comes in with a revolver and a stick of dynamite, and he says, "Give me all you got." And to threaten him, he shoots that revolver and sets off the dynamite, blows himself to smithereens, and dies. Now, during the renovations, they started pulling up all the floorboards, and they started noticing, oh, wow, that's a lot of gold flakes and dust out there. And when they had sifted through all of the rubble eventually, they discovered, we just made money. So that was the first profitable bank robbery in history for the bank. Really good views of Harding Mountain up there today. In that saddle to the left of it, that is Harding Glacier. Can't quite tell because it's still very snow-capped, but that saddle chunk of snow, that is a glacier. Harding Peak is named after President Harding. He was the only president to come and visit Skagway, and he came out and said, you know, this is kind of the armpit of America. And he was here for 16 hours and then left. Still named a mountain and glacier after him for some reason. Like I said, church transmission, not much more I can do about that. Not familiar with that myself. Alright, fair enough. There's the town library over there. We've kind of left the historic park and the tourist stuff, and now we're back into just the community of Skagway. This is a full-fledged town. They got a whole lot of stuff going on out here, sorta. They have a handful of churches, a recreation center. We even have a skate park up here on the left in a little ways. Despite the sign for a hospital, we don't actually have a hospital. We have a medical clinic here that does get very well qualified nurse practitioners in there, a dentist once a month, but any sort of like real medical care, you're going a white horse or Juneau. It's probably about a 45-minute flight to Juneau from here, 45 minutes to an hour, and very likely they will be flying you rather than putting you on the ferry. For appointments and things like that, if you needed to go do your doctor's checkup, you would just hop on the ferry over to Juneau, and you'd probably have to stay there overnight because it's pretty hard to get anything done on that 6-hour ferry ride over. It takes up most of your day. But it's a pretty thriving community out here. They have a school, post K through 12. They have a fire department / police station / DMV all rolled into one. Fun fact about this big fancy shiny building up here is that it cost $12.9 million to create, which is actually almost double what we spent to purchase Alaska in 1867. Crime rate? It's pretty low. The biggest crime that happens out here is people borrow your bike, and they don't steal it, but they borrow it and they'll move it from spot to spot. So typically that's not the like locals doing that to one another. It's just people coming off the ships and seeing a bike and seeing that it's unlocked, using it for the day. But, yeah, exactly. You could rent it or just borrow it.
What's the population?
That's a great question. I had a question for what is the population of Skagway? The year-round true population of Skagway is the folks who actually own property out here and live out here, have their kids out here. That's about 900 to 1,000 people as of the last census data. So it's pretty small. We just drove through all of Skagway in like 5-10 minutes there, and I was going pretty slow the whole time. Oh, I'm going to pause that real fast and come right back to it. This is what I call the ooh-ah bridge. To our right's going to be ooh, to our left's going to be ah. Okay, so when we get out to the middle, I am counting on the audience participation. Ready? Ready?
Ooh. Ah.
That was really good, right off the bat today. This number almost triples during the summer months, though, as seasonal workers like myself, career transient bums, we come up here from all over the lower 48 typically, and all over the world, as there are a lot of folks on J1 visas working for companies out here. Wild than this. I mentioned we'll be going to Liarsville. I'm going to pull over so we can get a good look at it and see the Denver Glacier out there. That is the reason we don't have a highway over to Juneau. So, really beautiful spot. I'll hold the bus here, and you can stand up and take some pictures if you want, if you're on the left side of the coach. But I would rather save our get out look spot for up at the top of the pass today. I think it's going to be pretty spectacular. Also, your train ride is going vertical lines in some of the rocks as we travel up. You'll see some vertical strips come down. Those are wormholes, as they call them. It's where they were drilling down through that rock, go and place the dynamite in there, and then blast it out. Falling in the White Pass on average. But anyways, here with my partner, we both are working up here. But we drove up, and on that White Pass on the way in, there was all sorts of folks parked with snowmobile trailers and heading out to the White Pass, and it was still so snowy we couldn't see any of the rocks. It was really cool. Just horrific sights, and the difficulty and unceasing difficulty of this journey drove a lot of these men to madness. There's some great photos of folks coming up from Seattle, bright-eyed, looking pretty well out, cascades down. However, you're going to get the better one. We'll be passing here in a moment the William Henry Bridge, the Captain Williams, or Moore Bridge. Name's William Henry, something or other. They've got a bunch. They'll have it posted up there. Put the Captain Moore Bridge up here. This is a really interesting bridge to me, and to engineers, I would hope. There is a fault line that runs pretty much directly under us. We'll see a gorge to our left that is part of that fault line. But it does go more or less directly into the roadway. This was the road just a few years ago. They have since decommissioned it. The traffic got a little too much for it, with just all the buses and trucks. But this suspension bridge is anchored on one side. So you can see that there's no tower on this uphill side. And that is because it is a floating platform, has the ability to slide back and forth. I think that's pretty incredible. And it's kind of a like when not if situation of when that earthquake goes off. Beautiful look at the Sawtooth Mountains though. Well, we're starting to get a little closer to the alpine tundra up here. That's a lot smaller trees, and generally tundra has no trees or willows, so at higher up you're going to feel that temperature difference from down in Skagway, even on a sunny day like today. Shouldn't be too terrible though. It was a blizzard at the end of it right there, kind of like a hockey stick statue. So they're welcoming us into Canada. Yeah, like you said, marking the road for the snowplows. With that over here, should be some pretty blue ice on the little mini lake down there still. As it starts to melt, the surface ice is melting in tandem with the lower ice below, and it forms these little puddles on top of that ice. And when it forms that puddle, it exposes the density of the ice and makes it shine that bright blue, very similar to glaciers. Yeah, quite a different landscape now. We went from temperate rainforest to up here in true alpine tundra. Snow still, We do still get some small avalanches on the roadway up here. Nothing to be of concern. I want to emphasize that heavily, like not something that would sweep us off the road or a mega avalanche, like little slips that come down, sit on the edge of the road.
How is the fishing?
I got 2 questions. Requisite list, and it was a requisite amount. You did have to have that, otherwise Mounties up at Log Cabin would not let you into Canada, and they would send you back down. So this journey was not just once up and over, it was up and down and up and down and up and down to haul your entire outfit to the top of the mountain, to the top of the White Pass here. From there, things got eventually a little bit easier. To start, not so much. We'll be soon entering the Tormented Valley, as they called it. We'll talk more when we get there. With thousands of pounds of goods. I had another question for how's the fishing? Do you mean up here? Where specifically?
In Skagway?
Down in Skagway? There is a lot of like ocean where we're at, the Taya Inlet and the Lynn Canal. It's like you got to go out a pretty far ways to get towards any of the halibut. 15 throughout the day, but took those down back home and fried them up for me and the lady, and had a lovely little dinner that we harvested from the land. Also did a dandelion leaf salad with it, which is frozen. They're really bitter. It's not for me. I'll stick with spinach. Dandelion wine, though, I can get behind that. Hard Lake up by the town of Fraser, we'll see, has also got some fish in it. And that's about all I know of. Welcome to Canada, everyone, if you've never been. Got a cool spot on the left here. We call it International Falls. And we call it International Falls because this little waterfall coming down here is more or less at the top of this river basin. So you can almost see, you can't quite see over the edge in this spot, but the river does split left and right.
Oh, yeah.
Takes the easy route down the White Pass and out to the ocean right then and there, or it takes the hard route and it'll go all the way up to the Yukon River and follow the Yukon River out to the coast, which is an incredibly long journey.
Get the heater on? It's hot in here.
It should be on low, but... And if you want to cool off, this is the spot I was hoping to stop at up here. This is
In Canada. Yay. International bathrooms. Not gonna.
So who's the idiot that come up here and said, oh yeah, I can build a railroad?
That would be Big Mikey, RNW, the camera on Neverville. So White Marks are shipping all that copper to the coast to go back to the smelters in Seattle. But also an incredibly impressive railroad. You got saying, give me enough snuff and diamonds.
Hey, hun.
Exactly. I mean,
How you
can
like the
see
White
out in this
Pass?
valley here.
Oh, it's
So
beautiful.
imagine
We're in
this place
Canada.
Some
when the
lights.
Our
glacier-
first time in Canada.
when the ice
We're in
melted
British
here,
Columbia.
The glacier was filling this whole
Oh,
bowl.
girl. They're in.
Bottom feeders, I believe. Yeah, what a beautiful spot. I was talking to some of you guys about how this valley was formed and why it got its name, the Tormented Valley, but I'll talk a little bit more about it as we drive through it. This valley was formed by glaciers, as pretty much everything in the North Country was. Shaped by glaciers, I should say, formed by tectonic forces. But out here at the bottom of that glacier, the bottom of our valley here, there was a series of rivers running underneath the glacier. That was predominantly what was carving these channels through the granite, just wearing it away over the course of a couple 100,000 years, or even a much longer geological time period of glaciation. But that's what caused all these little ridges and ruts down there. So you can imagine in the wintertime, this place was white entirely. From one top of the mountain to the other, it was solid white, covered in snow and ice. And during the summer months, all that snow starts to melt, and it leaves out these big rivers with these little lakes that are just really, really deep, all these big rocky structures. So this area became really difficult to navigate. Not that it was easy in the winter, but it was easier. During the winter months, when you hit some of these longer stretches, you could just sled or even sail across those lakes, as some folks would put sails on their sleds. I also mentioned to some of you, the speed limit's now 90. Don't freak out though, that's 90 kilometers. We are in Canada. That's about 55 miles per hour. So anyways, they're out there sledding around, they're sailing around. Really cool journey in the winter time. They did suffer from snow blindness though, because you can imagine on a sunny day like today with the entire valley completely white, it's going to be really hard on the eyes. But summer months were probably worse for navigation purposes, at least. Is one of its predominant food sources in the wintertime. They'll dig through the snow with their more snow-adept hooves than some of the other large ungulate species, and they'll dig through there and get to that moss and eat it throughout the winter months. We occasionally see wildlife out here, mostly the ptarmigans. I usually see them first, hear them first, but there are, in theory, wolves out here, wolverines, coyotes, porcupines, moose, and caribou roaming these hills. I think they've been fine. It's a weird black monolith up on top of that mountain too. I was asking Customs what that's about. Over to our right there? Not exactly a river, kind of, more a little lake portion of a river. There are some streams that flow through here. Everything's now flowing north up into the Yukon and eventually to the Yukon River. But yeah, river is an incredibly heavy and large amount of gold. Pretty incredible adventure that they went on.
How many people per group?
Per group, did you say? That was like per person needed 2,000 pounds. Truthfully as we can. Please make sure that nobody is in the bathroom when they come aboard. That makes them very uncomfortable when somebody jumps out of the bathroom. And I don't want to see their guns today. 15 minutes. Make sure that you have all of your belongings. In the event that I need to go and do another transfer, there might be other passengers on board this coach, and I don't want them messing with your stuff.
We're about to get on the train. Go back down. We're in car 388. Hey. Hello.
Announcements that I need to go over with you, so please listen very carefully. As you saw when boarding, there are platforms at the front and back of each train car. Now within city limits, these platforms must be cleared, so I will make an announcement when I have heard from our conductor that we have cleared city limits so that you can go outside. While outside, please make sure you understand that you are not allowed at any time to cross from car to car, and please stay off that thin metal bridge connecting the cars together. Our number one rule again is that there is no crossing from car to car. The only people that are allowed to cross from car to car are our trained staff. There is no smoking at any time in or outside of the train cars, and this includes electronic cigarettes. If we do catch you smoking, we'll assume you have caught fire and take the necessary measures to put you out. There's also no consumption of alcohol allowed at any time during our trip. Please make sure not to rest your hands and fingers in the doorways of the platforms, as the doors can slam shut due to the rocking of the train. All our passengers that are 16 years and under need to be accompanied by a responsible adult when outside on those platforms. Finally, please do not adjust any of the stoves that you see in your cars. If you need assistance with the temperature in your coach, please let one of our train staff know. Thank you very much for your compliance and understanding. Now I would like to go ahead and introduce myself and welcome you all aboard the historic White Pass and Yukon Mountain Railroad. My name is Max, and I'll be your narrator today. Also at this time, I'd like to introduce you to our train crew. Up in the front of the train is our engineer. Engineer Will. This morning you should have all found complimentary copies of the All Aboard magazine. Story here on the White Pass Railroad is intertwined with the beginnings of the Klondike Gold Rush. I'm going to take you back in time to before the railroad was even built. It is August 16th of 1896. Skookum Jim, Dawson Charlie, George Carmack, and his wife Kate Carmack were in the Klondike area of the Yukon when they found that precious yellow metal shining in Rabbit Creek, now known as Bonanza Creek, a tributary to the Klondike River. Now, since George Carmack was the only white member of the group, he decided to make those first claims because they thought at the time a Native American would not be recognized as discoverer. Flash forward almost a year later to July of 1897, two ships, the Portland and the Excelsior, docked in Seattle and San Francisco, carrying the very thing that drove men to start wars and die over. With the new trend of anyone being able to strike it rich, the race to the Klondike was on. Though the trail was a treacherous 600 miles of cliffs, rocks, ice, and mud, it was too late and they had already tasted it. Gold fever had taken a hold and they had decided they will do whatever necessary. Through the summer of 1897 through early 1898, thousands of hopeful miners stampeded into the newly created tent and shack towns of Skagway and IE. Now just a quick reminder. States was facing its worst economic depression depression ever. Due to the collapse of the Philadelphia Reading Railroad and the National Portage Company, stock prices plummeted, 500 banks closed, 15 of their own. The Klondike was to be this saving grace. However, little did they know that this road to riches was not paved by gold, but by brutal and desperate quests to survive as they began their journey over these mountains.
Oh yeah, that's a good shot, everybody. Look at that train. Oh.
Was the largest obstacle in the journey to the gold fields. Now they had a choice to make. Either the White Pass, which started in Skagway, or the Chilkoot Trail, which started 9 miles west of Skagway and Dyea. Now the Chilkoot Trail was shorter, however much steeper. Impossible to pass, as pack animals would get stuck and left behind. There ain't no choice, said an old-timer choosing between the Chilkoot and White Pass. One's hell and the other's damnation. White Pass was none other than an Irish experienced railroad builder from Canada named Michael James Heaney. Now, after hiking the trail, he felt the need to build a railroad through this pass, though it would be a difficult venture. Now, gaining support for the railway was nearly 88 feet. On our right-hand side, you will see a replica cabin where the Northwest Mounted Police officers were stationed, checking to make sure each stampeder had the required amount of supplies before heading into Canada. After that, and sharply upwards on the right-hand side, we will see a bronze obelisk that marks the international border between the United States and British Columbia, Canada.
Now we're slowly making our way to the White Pass summit, which also is the marking point of the Canadian and U.S. border. But on your right-hand side, though, you actually see this frozen limbs begin to thaw. This right here is called Summit Lake, and it was pretty typical during the gold rush era when the stampeders, when they do make it to this point, they might do some type of like barge, some type of ski type of operation. What they would do is they would put their materials on that barge or skis, and they'll have a sail attached to it. What they'll use is they'll allow the wind to carry those goods along this flat path. Because you gotta think, they've been hiking for days, if not weeks, if not months, up these series of mountains that we're going to see as we continue closer to Skagway. So at this point, you're pretty tired, pretty exhausted. So any chance you guys to get burden off your back, you'll be greatly enjoyed. And then once you get all the way to Lake Minute in Yukon territory, you'll create another barge. And from there, you can canoe, kayak, or raft to a series of lakes and rivers from the Yukon territory all the way to Dawson City in the north. So this right here is where the Northwest Mounted Police will check all the stampeders here, make sure they have all the necessary food and gear as well. And then right past this is an obelisk marking the border.
That's cool.
Now the Northwest Mounted Police, they were pretty hardcore.
100 to 2,000 pounds. To put that into perspective, that's roughly about the same as 2 horses. Now imagine carrying 2 horses on your back up this pass in one go. Most of the stampeders could barely keep one horse alive, let alone carry 2 of them. And that's why this relatively short hike turned into a journey of over 1,000 miles of back and forth hiking, 50 to 60 pound increments each time. On average, it would take a stampeder around 3 to 8 months just to get to mile marker 20 of their 600-mile trip to the Goldfields. This marks a portion of the original trail that was used during the Klondike Gold Rush and the closest we get to it on the train. Imagine a footpath that is only a few feet across. Now imagine two-way traffic with pack animals. It was said that if you lost your place in the single file line, it would take hours, if not days, for some kind soul to let you back in. Famous naturalist John Muir also described the inexperience of the people trying to get themselves and their goods over this steep and treacherous pass. Now he wrote, "These adventurers with more energy than knowledge were struggling." The first tunnel of our trip is 670 feet long and very dark, so find a stable spot. Once we emerge from the tunnel, on our right-hand side we'll get a shot of our famous steel cantilever bridge, and on our left will be the White Pass Fork of the Skagway. Cantilever Bridge was completed in 1901, and at the time it was the tallest standing bridge of its kind in the entire world, standing 215 feet from the valley floor below and spanning 815 feet across the valley. Now clearly we no longer go over this bridge as it was retired in 1969. Now the Steel Cantilever Bridge is one of the many reasons that the White Pass and Yukon Route Railroad has been deemed an International Historic Civil Engineering Landmark. This is a title that we share with the Eiffel Tower, the Panama Canal, and the Statue of Liberty. By now you have met our fantastic roaming guides, Don and Katie. The next time you
Oh my goodness.
found scarcely enough footing for an eagle, yet they had to find a way to blast through the rock. To do so, the men worked in teams of 3, doing something called double jacking. Station. Here we make our largest horseshoe curve to the right, passing over the headwaters of the Skagway River.
There it is. Yeah, there's the cross. Aw. That's a big boulder, isn't it?
A fantastic roaming guide, and my great friend Katie will be taking over for me and bringing us the rest of the way back down to Skagway.
Yeah.
them in suits on the ground, or you can wait to hear from me on the microphone letting you know that all the steps have been lowered. Please be careful when stepping off the train. Please use the hand railings provided. Keep in mind that many do find it easier to climb down backwards, like a ladder. If you need any assistance at all, please.
Alrighty, and we're off. You see all these little like bright green tips on the trees here? Those are called spruce tips. These are all spruce trees, of course, mostly Sitka spruce. But these spruce tips are chock full of vitamin C. They are edible. You might see some at Liarsville, and away from the road, away from any of that dust there, you might be able to pluck some off and try nibbling on them. They have kind of a like citrusy lawn clipping flavor, which sounds weird, but they are pretty tasty and they're really good for you. Chock full of vitamin C.
It's cute though.
Or anybody? Oh, that makes sense why you don't know about our famous Liarsville howl then, huh? I see. You see, we have a very special way of communicating here in Liarsville, and if you master it, you just might be able to go home with all that gold in your pockets. I did say might, it's a tourist attraction after all. Now it is my duty as your guide to prepare you, so I'm afraid you may not exit this craft until your howl meets my standards. Lucky for you, my standards are pretty darn low. So, when I say, "Oh!" you say, "Oh!" Okay, that's pretty good. This guy carried, I hate to say it, but I think the rest of you can do a little bit better. Just try and match hidden, you know? One more time. Stupendous. We'll take that, my friends. My name is Al Anderson. I'm coming to you today as one of those famous Liarsville players. If you haven't heard of us yet, count yourselves lucky. Now, we have a fantastic schedule set out for you friends today. First of all, you're going to go over here to our trail camp, where you can see how we lived 128 years ago. There, you can go to Madam Jan's Fancy Goods and see the books and the wonderful things we have on display and maybe take a couple home with you. Then also, we have a waterfall for your picture-taking pleasure. Then we have a show for you down at the Hippodrome. After that, we'll take you over to the gold fields where you can pan for some genuine 19-karat gold. Subsequently, I hope you've worked up an appetite because we're taking you over to the cookhouse for our world-famous Liarsville Salmon Bake, where we have, you guessed it, barbecue chicken. No, sorry, there's salmon too. Rice pilaf, we got scallop potatoes, we got all kinds of wonderful food for you. You sweet tooths there in the back, we have some blueberry cake that is just to die for, my friends. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to ask any of us that live here. We don't bite. Well, the madams might if you pay a little extra, but we don't shame or judge neither, so ask any question you might have. Without further ado, I think you folks are all set to go, so let's get this stampede started. Welcome to Liarsville. Free room.
This. We are in Liarsville. We just checked out the little fake town, fixing to get a show. Then we're gonna pan for gold, and then we're gonna eat. Sounds fun. I'm loving this day in Skagway. Hope you're having a good one. Don't forget to smile.
She sat on her lilac and strummed her guitar. Strummed her guitar, she strummed her guitar. She sat on a lilac and strummed her his cigar, smoked his cigar, he smoked his cigar. The funeral just for the ride, oh how he went for the ride. He sat on her tombstone and laughed till he cried, laughed till he cried, he laughed till he cried. Sat on the tombstone and laughed till he cried, oh how he laughed till he cried. That tombstone fell over and squished his inside, squished his inside, squished his inside, turned and flied. She went up to heaven, she flittered and flied, oh how she flittered and flied. He sizzled and fried, he went to the other place, sizzled and fried, oh how he sizzled and fried. The moral of this story is don't tell a lie, don't tell a lie, no, don't tell a lie. The moral of this story is don't tell a lie, oh how you shouldn't tell lies. Famous Liarsville Hippodrome, drum, drum, drum. Oh, who am I kidding? This place is more infamous, more like it. Well, since my sweet friends seem to be taking their grand old time, I shall hold you folks over with some jokes. So, any of you folks here from out of town? Oh, no, we got some ball. Hey, Lucy, where have you been? My one joke isn't that good.
Sorry, I got tied up at work. Pretty strong rope, too.
Yeah, I guess we did do a little upgrade, but come on.
I told you I didn't need your help.
I
had him.
We started out monologue and you cost me a paycheck.
All that glitters is not gold. Yeah. Well, not in this case, madam.
Let me tell you something. What?
I'm trying to do a show here.
Oh,
a show.
Get on up here. You're in the show.
In the show. I don't think so.
This is Carrie Black.
Oh, maybe these lovely folks would like to go on for us. We got plenty of extra courses flying around.
You know what? I think they've seen the show enough times. We'll take them over you two any day of the week.
Did you hear that, Lena? They're trying to replace us.
It was not our idea.
We're going to perform with you whether you like it or not.
Reverse psychology. It's a wonderful thing.
I don't even know what that is.
I'm not surprised. Well, anyway, here in Liarsville, we have had the proud honor of upholding a proud musical tradition that we have been doing for what feels like the past 128 years.
Oh, which I can, in fact, count up to. Thanks, I know, impressive, right?
And I'm next in line to be the Pope. What, they don't take women or something?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, anyways, what was speaking of music, there was a Stampeder's name.
Oh,
what
gosh,
was
what
his
was he?
name?
It was Freddie, was it Kruger? Was it...
Harold! That's right. And Harold had the bright idea of starting a saloon up at the top of the White Pass Trail. Poor guy, he was caught lugging a piano up to the saloon with a rope of all things.
Yeah, but Harold, he didn't have the best shoe choices because that man slipped on a piece of ice, that rope of his broke, and the piano came tumbling down the mountain on top of him. And all that was left of poor old Harold was a flat minor.
I'm so sorry, folks, for that horrible joke my friend just told. I do hope some of you enjoyed it, though. The jokes are not getting any better.
I'd be willing to bet they even get worse. You see, the Klondike Gold Rush was the biggest news story of its day, and it inspired an abundance of catchy tunes, some of which are even catchier than whatever's itching our nethers out here. Oh, but do not let that deter you from my business. I'm now offering a discount and a souvenir.
Okay. Speaking of catchy things, how about we get this show started with a fan favorite tune? See, friends, here in Liarsville, we like to have a lot of fun, so I expect each and every one of you to hoot, shout, stomp, and holler along. And hey, if you happen to know these words, feel free to sing along too.
She'll be coming round, round when she comes. She'll be coming coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes. She'll be riding 6 white horses. She'll be riding 6 white horses. She'll be riding 6 white horses when she comes.
And we'll all go out and greet her when she comes.
Hi there.
And we'll all go out and greet her when she comes.
How you doing?
Yes, we'll all go out and greet her. We'll all go out and greet her. Yes, we'll all go out and greet her when she comes.
Dance break! Come on! Just look at those! Woo! Aren't these ladies just so pretty? All right, let's wrap this up now. Everyone, she'll be coming round, round when she comes.
Said everyone.
Coming round, round when she comes. She'll be coming round.
Round the mountain, she'll be coming round the mountain. She'll be coming round the mountain.
When she comes.
Some of y'all were singing that music with your mouths closed. You gotta teach me how to do that sometime.
Impressive.
Well, thank you folks once again for joining us today on this nice, hot Alaskan summer day. We are the ragtag group of starving artists known here as the Liarsville Players.
And our noble mission to make a little hooch money.
Our motto: never let the truth stand in the way of a good story.
I'd introduce my real name, but after all the years of drinking, I've forgotten it. So folks around here just call me Husk.
My name is Lucky Lucy, cause I'm always getting lucky. Ooh, a lucky penny.
My name is Madam Viola Garcia, and that is the only name I go by. Don't go looking for any others. I'm looking at you.
My name is Miss Lena LeRae. I'll tell you some sweet things if you can pay.
We are the local proprietors of all forms of entertainment.
Who likes singing?
Oh, and making sweet
Whoa!
music.
Ow.
I was gonna say music. Another form of entertainment our fine landscape inspired was poetry. You see, it was real easy to pick it up with you, carry it in your noggin, and bring it wherever your journey may take you. Now, the most famous poet of our day was a man by the name of Robert Service. Any of y'all heard of him? Oh, we have a few in the front. You guys have been here before, though. You don't count. As for the rest of you guys, it looks like we don't have ourselves a full service crowd. I'll be here all week.
I did warn you about those jokes.
Now, there's a poem by Robert Service we hold very near and dear to our hearts here in Liarsville, and that's the story of the disposal of a frozen and frigid corpse.
I took a contract to bury the body of the blasphemous Bill Mackay, wherever, whenever, in whatsoever manner of death he died, by battle, murder, or sudden wealth, by pestilence, hooch, or lead. I swore on the book I would follow and look till I found my tombless dead. For Bill was a dainty kind of cuss, and his mind was mighty sought on a dicky patch with flowers and grass in a civilized boneyard lot. And where he died or how he died, it didn't matter a damn, so long as he had his grave with frills and a tombstone epigram.
All right.
So I promised him, and he paid the price in good cheap Chaco coin, which the same I blew later that night down at the Tenderloin. Then I painted a 3-foot slab of pine. Here lies poor Bill Mackay, and I hung it on my cabin wall, and I waited for Bill to die.
Years passed away, and at last one day came a lass with a story strange of a long deserted line of tracks laid back at the Bighorn Range, of a little hut in the Great Divide, and a white man stiff and still lying there by his lonesome self, and I figured it must be Bill. So I thought of the contract, I thought of him, and I took down from the shelf that small little box with a silver plate he picked out for himself. Then I loaded it full of grub and hooch and I slung it on my sleigh. Then I harnessed up my team of dogs and was off at dawn of day.
Mash! Ha ha ha! Okay.
You know what it's like in the Yukon wild when it's 69 below. When the ice worms wriggle their purple heads out of the crust of the pale blue snow. When the pine trees crack like little guns in the silence of the wood. And the icicles hang down like tusks under the parka hood. Oh, it was north, north, and through a land accursed, shunned by the scouring brutes. And all I heard was my own harsh word in the whine of the Malamutes. Till at last I came to a cabin squat, built in the side of a hill. And I burst through the door, and there on the floor, frozen to death, lay Bill.
God! What are you yelling for?
I was trying to take a nap.
A nap in the middle of the show? You know what? Is anybody here looking for an acting job? Clearly no talent required.
Oh yeah, that's why you're here.
Sparkling ice on the dead man's chest, glittering ice in his hair, ice on his fingers, ice in his heart, ice in his glassy stare. Ew, don't look at me like that. You're starting to freak me out a little bit. Well, I gazed at the coffin I brought for him, and I gazed at the gruesome dead. Till at last I spoke. Bill lacked his jokes, but still, go darn his eyes. A man ought to consider his mates in the way he goes and dies.
Have you ever sat in an Arctic hut in the shadow of a pole with a little coffin 6 by 3 and a grief you can't control? Have you ever sat next to a frozen corpse that looked at you with a grin that seemed to say you might try all day, but you'll never jam me in? Now, I ain't the man of the quitting time, but I've never seemed so blue as I sat there gazing at that stiff and studying what I do. So at last I rose and I kicked off the husky dogs that were nosing around the bow. Then I lit a roaring fire in the stove and I started to thaw Bill out.
You just rub and blow, right?
Isn't that like your whole job?
Oh yeah.
I'm not used to this kind of wood.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I thought and thought for 13 days, but it didn't seem no good. His arms and legs stuck out like pegs, as if they were made of wood. Till at last I said, it ain't no use. He's froze too hard to thaw. He's obstinate. He won't lie straight. So I guess I've got to saw.
Oh, don't you worry your two little pretty faces. This will only hurt a lot.
Oh no! No, the pain! No, the misery!
Oh, the horror! Oh, another synonym for that word!
Oh, it hurt a lot! I promise that's what it did!
You need a hand?
You're a winner! No paying attention.
Get off! So I sawed off poor Bill's arms and legs, and I laid him snug and straight in the little coffin he picked himself with a dinky silver plate. And I came nigh near to shedding a tear as I nailed him safely down. Then I stowed him away on my Yukon sleigh, and I started back to town. Mush! I'm okay.
So I buried him, as the contract was, in a narrow grave and deep. And there he awaits the great cleanup as the judgment sluice head sweeps. And I smoke my pipe and I meditate the light of the midnight sun. Sometimes I wonder if they was those awful things I done.
And as I sit and the parson talks, expounding on the law, I often think of poor old Bill and how hard he was to saw.
Thank you all, friends. That was the Battle of the Blasphemous Bill by Robert Service. Now, as I said, we do like to have a lot of fun around here, but I do just want to remind you folks that this is an actual historical location. See, about 128 years ago, this area was a thriving city of tents that went from this hillside here all the way to the Skagway River, and it stretched out for 2 miles along this valley floor. Now, some of you might be asking, why here?
Why?
I was talking to them.
Sorry.
Oh, great question, whoever you were. You see, this was the last little spot before that White Path Trail made its dangerous and treacherous uphill climb. So it made perfect sense to be the base camp for thousands of folks just like ourselves to get our last taste of civilization, if you can even call this civilized, before heading up that trail in the hopes of striking it rich.
Extra! Read all about it. July 17th, 1897. Steamer rolls into Seattle, carrying over a ton of solid gold.
Woo! Gold discovered in the Canadian Yukon by 4 Tagish family members. Dawson City established estimated $29 million worth of gold to be discovered. America's long depression is over.
You too can stake your claim and become a rich man. First, you'll take a nice leisurely cruise through the Alaskan Inside Passage, indulging in daily buffets and nightly entertainment. Then take in all the sights and sounds of the Yukon on that smooth wagon road known as the White Pass Trail. Then, once you reach the summit, it's just a short boat ride over to Dawson, where you'll step off the boat, reach into the river, and pull out huge nuggets of gold!
Wow, that sounds nice and sweet. Where do we sign up?
Well, you see, it seemed easy enough that folks like us flocked over to Seattle from all over the country. So we were afflicted by that gold fever. We are living in a
Okay, hang on. We do not have the copyrights for this. We can't do this. I don't know what you've been drinking, but I'll take about 6 of those. Oh, we all soon found out what a lie all that one was.
Fake news! A big steaming pile of
Whoa!
There's kids here.
That's not a child.
Close enough.
You see, those reporters were supposed to report directly from the gold fields, but when they found out how dangerous the journey would be,
Sorry, what?
and how it would take 6 months to complete,
months?
and they had to carry everything on their backs,
Oh, gosh,
You guys
right.
are killing me, right?
it was just too far and hard to lug up those typewriters.
So, what do you do when you want to get paid, but you don't want to do any work?
Oh, well, you can always do a show just like this one.
Yes, but you're not supposed to tell them that.
Oh, I missed that part.
What you could do is what those reporters did. They stayed right here in camp listening to all the tall tales and rumors coming down the mountain from 500 miles away, and they passed them off as their own eyewitness accounts. Kind of like how people on the internet do these days. Y'all ever heard of Facebook?
Yes, but those of us who were dumb enough to brave those trails were lucky enough to make it back alive. Most of us weren't that lucky.
Stampeders in makeshift boats drowned in the rapids.
No!
Avalanches and rock slides buried people and animals alive.
Bears and moose made weary travelers into their own personal chew toys. No!
And they got scurvy. Pretend these are my teeth.
That's worse than our 2-for-1 special.
Oh, you know our 2-for-1 can't be beat.
I mean, yeah.
But it's true, isn't it? I mean, their diets were terrible. Kind of like how mine was back in college.
Man, look at all these dead bodies here. Reminds me of all those horses scattered up there on the trail. I mean, imagine what that would have smelled like. Actually, we can skip that part. But if you could picture these folks as those horses, you might get an idea of why the White Pass Trail later became known as the Dead Horse Trail.
Jack London wrote,
Their hearts turned to stone, those which did not break, and they became beasts, the men on the Dead Horse Trail. Come on, ladies, I don't know what you're drinking, but can we continue the show already?
Right, sorry about that.
So then thousands of men turned back,
defeated because they had failed to strike it rich, guess who we bumped into?
Who?
Those same lousy, lying, no good reporters that brought us here in the first place.
Get out of my house! I'm gonna get
Well, now that we've settled here, we've got a nice little home we call Skagway, which is clinking for the term home of the north wind.
Is that what I'm smelling back here?
Not bad!
May not be the best place, but we definitely got our pros and our cons, and we most certainly have our pro-cons. And sure, we take luxurious baths in dirty used water, and we sleep in tents every night.
But you know you don't have to sleep on your own.
I'm trying to have a moment with them.
Oh,
Please.
sorry.
And of course, the only thing we have here to drink is gut hooch whiskey. But hey, you know what? It's our home. And for me, that's as good as gold.
You know what this calls for a nice little group?
Someone's been marinating in that used bath water. Stick to the clean water, folks. It's only 50 cents.
And enough of all this gross and sappy stuff. How about we work on playing these fine folks out so we can get y'all over to the gold fields?
Oh, that sounds like a mighty fine idea,
Thank
Buzz.
you.
Now, all this friendship isn't really buying me anymore. Who?
Oh, well, that's not necessarily true. Now that we're all such good friends here, maybe some of you might find it in your hearts to donate to our hooch accumulation fund.
Wait, I thought that word was inebriation.
I wish I was inebriated.
Oh, that means we need to get extra friendly with our audience. Pardon me, sir. Did you know that Latinas are a commodity nowadays?
Whoa. Let's work your business a little later. How about we just stick to what we're best at?
Oh, get lucky. Instructions.
Ooh, the rock guys.
Yeah.
I was talking about music.
Me too.
One more time, singing. I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away.
In the morning.
When I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away. Oh, when I die, hallelujah, by and by. I'll fly away.
On behalf of all of the Liarsville players, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out here and indulging us in our tradition of
Making up stories.
Now that we have a few moments, pardon me, sir, how many drinks have you had today? 2? That's not near enough. I say the next round's on you. How about that?
Why don't we send them over to the gold field so they can pay for those next round of drinks?
Woo! That sounds like a mighty fine idea. Like my mama always said, honey, if you can't be a gold digger, someone else ought to be. So, off my benches. That was a command, not a suggestion. Now, turn around and get your butts out of my hippodrome. Bye.
That was a great show. It was funny.
Coming in, everybody makes new friends. I'm going to demonstrate how to pan for gold, then I'll set you free to pan for gold. So if you stay close, you can hear me. Then we'll actually go close. Alright, swarm one. Nobody got lost in Juneau, and nobody's going to get lost in Juneau, right? Well, the roads go right. There's 3 ways to get to Juneau. Scoop the ship up there and your mom. I keep it PG. You know, so the cool part is about this southeast Alaska here, found out we don't have any snakes. They can't get passports, so they can't come visit us. You can take all these hikes, you won't see a single snake. You might see a bear or 5, but not a single snake. All right, we all here now? Some are running away. Well, it's not going to pan out for them. All right, everyone. So we just heard the fun stories about them going up over the mountains trying to get their riches 500 miles away. Well, we're just going to have a day adventure today. So we're going to have a little bit smaller pan than some of them would use, but I like the smaller pan because then our hands don't get so fatigued like the bigger pans would. And typically it's the same amount of work to the small amount of like that bottom corner. You see the high side of that corner now? All nice and empty, so underneath all that dirt is that gold in that bottom corner. So with it being tilted, we're gonna get that pan, we're gonna start shaking it side to side. We're gonna call that a jiggle for you, but it's not a wiggle. I just did all the wiggling on stage. We're lazy over here. We do like a two-step, just side to side. You're gonna jiggle it so you get a gap in the front and the back of the pan there to make sure all that dirt and gold is in that corner. We're gonna pause there. We're gonna do a wash. You're gonna take that pan, dip in the water, pull back, dip in the water, and pull back. Water's gonna flow in, light sound's gonna wash out. Kind of like cleaning layers of an onion. We're just gonna clean a little inside. So we do a jiggle. You're gonna pause it, and do a wash. Jiggle, wash. We're gonna do that so much today. We're gonna dream about it tonight. Jiggle, wash. Jiggle, wash.
Excuse me. We're teaching them how to pan for gold. The husband's over the waterfall. Amazing. It's the little birdhouse.
All right, my friends, who's lost? Need some assistance. All right, folks, head on down this way for the buffet. I'm not about that. Go ahead now. All right, trusty travels.
One of them's domesticated.
Barbecue chicken, salmon, slaw, baked beans with caribou in it, rice pilaf, Caesar salad, blueberry cake, lemonade. Yay! Alright, we're in Alaska. What better place than to try the first salmon and it's grilled? Delightfully delicious. Guys, this is the famous blueberry cake from the Alaskan log and grill thing we came to in Liarsville. I've heard it's amazing, and I scraped up some crumbs from the pan so I'd have crunchy. I've done tasted it. It was awesome. All right, let's try it. Oh my goodness, that's so good.
That's a three-part. You guys did it on all of them.
Now, there's certain times of the year where that riverbed stays full.
Stays full?
Stays full. That's water flow right now?
Water's still pretty low right now. It is a glacial fed river, so right now, higher up in the glaciers, they're still pretty frozen, like yeah, obviously it's ice, it's frozen, cool. But like the glacier is much more stagnant in the wintertime. There's a lot less water flow going through there, but as that snow melts on the glacier and then the glacier is then exposed to the sun, it's going to really fill that river. So it'll get flowing pretty good pretty soon.
Well, how about you, my friends?
Oh, not too bad.
Oh, haven't seen you since last night. Hi, friends. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes? Well, let me introduce myself. My name is Madam Annie, Annie Time, and I am your personal horse-storian today here at the Red Onion Saloon. Yeah. How's your ride been so far with David here?
Great.
Oh, good. Oh, good. David is the second best ride in town, after all. You're about to intimately get to know the first, all right? Now, my friends, we are about to go into the Red Onion Saloon. Before we go inside, though, I want to tell you a little bit about it. So, the Red Onion was erected in 1897 as a saloon and brothel and opened in 1898. It is no longer a brothel, okay? I just want to set expectations now. I know, I'm sorry, sir. But welcome back. Good to see you again. No, it's not a brothel. Just, we're going to have a little quickie, but it's a quickie tour. It is still a restaurant, though. It's kind of like what they did with McDonald's. It's still a restaurant, but they took out the play place. So, welcome to open there and order a meal or a drink if you'd like after your tour. When it opened, though, we actually were not always at 2nd and Broadway. We actually were up by 6th and State. That was right on the outskirts of the red light district here in Skagway. We had to move it in 1914 because of the Women's Christians Temperance Union. They were, I know, they were really advocating for this law, folks, that said that there could not be a brothel within a certain number of feet of a church. And then the craziest things started happening. All of these churches just started popping up. And so we had to move our building. Well, our owner at the time, Teresa Rapuzzi, she did. She was the first of a long line of visionary women that owned this building. She had it moved with 4 logs, a horse, and my favorite source of power, burly Alaskan men. She made sure it got all the way down here to 2nd and Broadway. And the men picked up the building, put it in its location, wanted to head inside, congratulate themselves on a job well done. And that's when they realized they put the whole thing in backwards. Yeah. Now, friends, we have a saying here in these parts. You can do things the right way, you can do things the wrong way, or you can do things the Skagway, all right? Because those men, they did not pick up the building and turn it around. Oh, no. Instead, they cut off the front facade of the building and the back facade of the building, and they just switched them. Yeah. So, men, right? You know, it's what happens when you leave a man to do this kind of work. So to this day, our building is still facing the other direction, though their doors are happily in their place. Now, we will be heading inside very quickly to go upstairs into the brothel museum. And the room that we will initially be in, though, that is just an addition to our building. In the very historic year of 2002. So there won't be a lot of history down there. But the real history will be when we get up to the brothel museum itself. Now, folks, I do want to mention, while we will be talking about sex work upstairs at the Red Onion, there was a few women downstairs that did pretty well for themselves. You've learned a bit about the gold rush today, yes, I'm assuming? Mm-hmm. Great. So 100,000 people came out to join the stampede, and many of these Klondike kings, right, they didn't actually come back with their fortunes intact. Not many of them, at least, maybe less than 20. The real winners of the Klondike gold rush were the saloon owners, the good time girls, the people who were mining the miners right here in town. Truly, that's why we're so proud to represent these folks. And friends, I do want to tell you a little bit about some of the girls that work downstairs. We're just waiting a couple minutes for the sheets to be cleaned upstairs before we head upstairs. But while we do wait for that, go ahead, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the working girls that actually work downstairs at the Red Onion. They were the dance hall queens, or the percentage girls. And the dance hall queens, they were interesting. They would charge you $1 per song. And for that song, they would be your dance partner. They also made a 25% commission off of any drink bought for them or in their presence. Well, after a dance or two, it's not hard to convince your partner you are just parched and you are ready for a drink. The two of you head on over to the bar. The girl gives the bartender a wink, making sure that when he orders, she gets the good stuff. And that good stuff, of course, is watered down iced tea, charged as top shelf liquor. So so you can keep your mind clear while your eye is on the profits. Oh, and I do think that the sheets are ready for us, folks. What do you say? You ready to go inside and do it? Just the tour, folks. Follow me this way.
Oh my, I see that one.
Cozy with me. I don't bite. Not Just gonna wait for everyone to get nice and lubricated. In the meantime, where's everybody traveling from?
Georgia.
Georgia, welcome. A little bit of a difference in weather there. Yeah.
Yep.
Very good. Where else? Kentucky. Alabama. Oh my gosh, Alabama, Kentucky, great. Again, I'm glad to cool you down a little bit. This is, I'm sure, a nice change of pace. People are always falling for us up here. So, is that door closed down there? Nope. All right, my dears. Well, do feel free. Anyone that would like, get a glass of champagne, a glass of water in hand. We are going to have a toast, inspiring women of the past and the tenacious women of today. And of course, to all of the men, whatever they're willing to pay. Cheers! Cheers! Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries in the group?
We're on our honeymoon.
You're on your honeymoon? Oh my gosh. Well, folks, I know it's a quick turnaround, but you think you could get it up one more time? Oh, always a happy surprise when that happens. Folks, on our honeymoon, may your love lives forever be like a kitchen table. All legs, no drawers. Cheers. The Red Onion Saloon, all the way back in 1898, when it was up in its original location at 6th and State.
Wow.
It was a beacon of hope for all those dirty, stinky miners, letting them know that we sold a little more than liquor in this establishment. And folks, as you can see, after over 127 years, the red light is still turned on. You all, so am I. So, want to go upstairs and do it?
Yeah.
Just the tour, right this way.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Wow.
The floorboards. Actually was donated to us by a guest on one of these tours. She was up here and she said, hey, I have this right in this room. So be on your best behavior. Yeah. Now right underneath me here, this is a translucent gown that we found here in the building as well. It's our most prized possession. It's actually extravagant 1898 lingerie. It's completely see-through, covered in silver sequins. These silver sequins are actually silver-plated copper pieces, and they've all been hand-crushed into place. It is original to us, worth a small fortune, and it weighs 10 pounds. That's why she's lying on her back. We tried to stand her up, but she was ripping at the shoulders. Now, folks, the next room that we're going to walk into, it's quite small. The last one as well. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them out here because we won't all fit. This next room you'll walk into is our last, intact, originally sized crib room. This is the size of room a girl would live and work out of. It's also the same size bed a girl would live and work out of. You'll see, it's a 3/4 size twin bed. It's about yay wide, and it will at the very least make you feel better, but your bed's on the cruise ship. You'll also see on the wall in there a framed silk stocking. We found that stuffed in the walls here. These walls are only about 1 inch thick. We think that stocking was probably for warmth or soundproofing. Also in there you'll see leftover pinups, likely from the Army barracks days. And importantly, right across from us you'll see a window, and next to that window, a display case. It is so important to us that we don't glamorize what was going on during this time. So the most popular form of contraception for these girls was actually a feminine cleanser. And the most popular brand of that feminine cleanser is a brand that we all still use today, Lysol. That chemical was originally marketed as a cleaning product for women, a feminine cleanser. And now that product has actually been very dimmed down. Likely back then it was 2, maybe 3 times stronger than what we use today on our kitchen counters. Later studies showed that it was only between 30 and 50% effective if you survived it. It was very harmful to use. I only say this to emphasize just how strong and determined these women absolutely had to be in this line of work. Then the directions for use are still printed on that bottle if anybody is interested. As you cross the hall, you'll enter the madam's room. The madam is management. She is no longer servicing men. That is way below her pay grade. So you'll see in there that her room is big, her bed is big. She even had the only heat source in the room, and you'll see on the wall where the stove used to be. Now madams, they got to take a commission off of every working girl's $5. Does anyone want to guess how much she might have taken?
40%.
Really good guess. Really close. 50%. Madam took half. And then the bouncer had to be paid. He took 25%. That leaves our working girl with $1.25 per trick. I know that sounds terrible. I will also say that the cost of living in Skagway was $6 a day. Well, many women here were here by themselves. They were waiting for their husbands to come back from the gold rush. And you didn't know it until you got here. But if you were a woman working a respectable profession here in Skagway, cook, teacher, seamstress, you could only hope to make $3 a day. So if you put a full day's labor for $3 against $1.25 every 15 minutes, guaranteed 12-hour shifts, housing, meals provided, a bouncer for safety. I mean, I hope it's clear why so many people came to this profession. It just was the best, and in some ways the only way to survive as a woman here during the gold rush.
Wow, that's a narrow bed.
It sure is.
Oh, look at the pinups. There's the stocking. No pictures. Can't get the pictures. You know what? Can't take pictures of the pictures. That's the thing that warmed them up, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Even in that other room, I didn't get to see it. I'm gonna go this way now. I want to look in this other room.
Oops.
Thanks for coming up.
Thank you.
Do you want me putting anything beside it?
Do I deposit it?
You want to die? This is cool. Oh my, wasn't expecting that face.
Oh, thank you so much, Dawn.
That was cool. She was good. Well, how cool. I can't get the pictures. Look at all the big pants. We've already been at this room.
Yeah, that's where we came.
I'm gonna start it. Terry, get out of the road before you get killed.
Paraglide down.
He said that was a good place, the Bonanza Bar and Grill. Lynch and Kennedy. What else? Jewelry Land, Caraloha. We know how those shirts work. Del Sol. Caraloha's the sheets. Del Sol is the shirts that change colors. Oh, look at that mountain. This is just like that TV show I used to watch, Northern Exposure. Hey guys, we finally got off our excursion. Now we're walking the streets of Skagway looking for some good souvenirs. And also taking in the town. How'd you like that saloon brothel tour?
It was different. I'm probably not allowed to make a comment.
Yeah. If you give her a tip, it's either got to go in the shirt. And she asked, and I was like, I will kill him. Then I took his picture.
It was
He was
still
red.
alive, so.
He was red. Yeah, he knew. He put it. She got a big tip, though. I don't usually see him tip that much. You know, back in the day, the way the women had to survive being out here, you know, it is not right and all that, but the story was very interesting.
Yeah.
I enjoyed
the
it.
way of life out here.
And the girl that was our tour guide, she was awesome. Her jokes just cracked me up. Some were a little, I'm not going to put it in the video, some,
yeah, some were a little risque.
They're very risque, but you had to get them. So anyways, let's go shopping.
Okay.
He said okay. Y'all
It's
heard that, right?
probably safer for me to go
Did you hear
shopping.
him? He said okay. Yeah, because you almost killed him for. If you had went there and stuck at it, I would have absolutely died. The Hubs went to the hardware store. Look at that. Those mountains with the snow right above the city. Gorgeous. I have crossed the street. This is such a neat town, but oh my goodness, look at that mountain above. It's beautiful. I'm still hung up on the brothel tour. That was just something else, and I don't know how in the world we ended up on it. A little local art shop. This is Carmen's Curios. Oh, the puppies. I'm looking for the mercantile because that just sounds good. Is that not awesome? I told the Hubs this morning we're going to have to take the, what's the fast train? Amtrak to Leavenworth around Christmas. See all the snow. There's totem poles. I could live in a town like this with these mountains behind me. Everybody we've met in Skagway has been so sweet. They are from here. There's one more cruise ship in dock with us. There's our ship.
You have to specify that we can't buy these if you're going to send her.
That is a face. I call that Face Mountain. Oh my. Train. It's on down, Terry.
Yeah, it's down there.
Oh, that's cool. Here, get up there, mister. I got you.
Well, you get the idea.
That's so cute.
I didn't even need to smell it.
I'm loving these mountains with snow. That's a park. Is there a river over there? I see a bridge.
How much time we got?
It's 4 o'clock. See the bridge? But the river ain't got much water.
See if it's very unloaded.
Okay. Thank goodness there's an ambulance down there. Our bus driver and some of the guides told us that there's little things on the end of the tree that when the sickness used to come into the camps, they would eat these and it would give them a good dose of vitamin C. So he's going to try one. I hope you're going to have an upset tummy. Is it bitter? He said it was bitter. You're brave. You didn't bite it. You sucked on it.
It actually tastes like the inside of a lemon peel.
Really? So the zest?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for telling us and walking off, Terry. Remember, I'm videoing. Are you wanting to make a face and not let nobody see? You can't take it on board.
I'm not going to eat it. He said you could eat it.
Yeah,
but I'm
eat
not
it.
going to eat it, but I did.
The way as
see
sensitive
what
as
it
my
tastes
stomach is, But
I just randomly walk around.
Well, guys, it's about time to head back to the ship, we think, because nobody knows what time it is. We know we have to be back on it at 7:30, but they've changed our times so many times. And one time they told us to set it back. It didn't. The phone didn't automatically. So nobody really knows what time it is right now. My phone says it's 4:30, but it could be 3:30, 2:30, 5:30, 6:30. I don't know. But it has been a great day in Skagway, and I hope to come back and visit again one day. I hope you've enjoyed the video. The best of Skagway, Alaska excursion was phenomenal. It was fun. I enjoyed every bit. Maybe not the brothel so much, but I did giggle a little, especially when she asked the hubs to put money in her upper part, and I told her I'd kill him. So, you know, look at that grin. He was gonna do it, I believe. I believe he was gonna do it. And you know what? He always hands me the money. He handed me the money to give to the bus driver. He wouldn't hand me the money to give to her. So that right there made a red flag go up. But anyway, it's been a wonderful day. I hope you've had a wonderful day wherever you are. Don't forget to share your smile with someone today. And I think I've smiled the whole day. It's been fun. Except for the time, I almost fell asleep on the train at the end when it was rocking.
Yeah, it's been a good day.
It's been a great day. Would I suggest this excursion? Yes. If you've got kids, maybe not with the brothel. Maybe pick one of the other ones. But the Liarsville camp was fun. The show was fun. The meal was good. The riding the bus up, we got to stop and get out. It was awesome. And then the train is awesome. But just riding the train would probably be awesome by itself. Anyways, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you later. Next video is coming from, where are we going? Juneau. And we've got an excursion there too. Have a good one. You want to say bye?
My goodness.
Guys, look how empty the streets are now. It's 5:30, 2 hours before our ship leaves, and it's dead. Wow. That's the only sunset we'll get in Skagway, because once it goes behind that mountain, you ain't see it. Nope. This is one place I would not want to take a little small plane ride. I guess this is how sunsets in Alaska go. Unless you're on top of the mountain. And there's that face. That is just creepy. They call that Face Mountain. Face. Look at all the birds up there.